Where you from? Queen City. City of Plainfield. You know Parliament Funkadelic, Gary Scheider, and the Prayer Boys. Yeah, it's my home that makes me smile. You gotta rep where you from. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Plainfield, stand up. This is your anthem. In the city of Plainfield, where I'm from. From the east to the west and up in the south end. We all used to have a lot of fun. Don't matter if it's summertime on a late night, where we chilling at the club and the drinks right. J&B Lounge, Anchor Bar, hanging out with the city of Plainfield superstars.
Wyclef Jean, BKS1 Radio, let's go.
This is Essence Atkins, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Hi, this is Melba Moore, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
Yo, check it out. What's the deal? This the chef. Giving a big shout out to my peoples. Big KS, you already know what it is. Salute.
What's up? It's your girl Monifa, and I'm hanging with BKS1 Radio.
Hi, I'm Ian Van Zan, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
BKS Radio, baby.
Hey, this is Jasmine Guy for BKS1 Radio.
What's going on? This is Lamont Rooker, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Shout out to BKS1, the best kept damn secret in the business.
Hey, what's up? This is Raven Goodwin from BET's Being Mary Jane, and shout out to BKS1.
Hi, this is Leon. You're watching BKS1 Radio.
BKS1. God bless y'all.
What's good, beautiful people? Y'all know what it is, BKS1 Radio. This is your boy, DJ Storm Norm the General. I'm excited tonight. You know why? Because I got somebody in the building with me, and we're going to talk with that person and everything, but it's election time in the city of Plainfield. So when it's election time, I get excited because I think it's a beautiful thing when you can choose who represents your city. All right. Now, y'all know me. I'm not big on politics and all of that. I don't like the back and forth with candidates and all of that, the brawls, the beefs, all of that, whatever. I want to get straight to the meat because if you're running for city council in Plainfield, it's all about serving the people. All right. It's all about serving the people. And I have the guest already in the building. She was on time. I appreciate that. Now, listen, BKS1 Radio all this week is going to be interviewing the candidates running for Plainfield City Council. I have in the house with me today, Mrs. Julienne Cherry. Yes, let's clap it up for Miss Julienne Cherry in the building. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
You excited?
I am. Listen, only thing that's missing is like my promo. I do the promo. Welcome to BKS Radio.
Yes.
One day.
You can get down with that. Get down with that. Now, first and foremost,
yes.
Tell the city of Plainfield, who is Julienne Cherry?
Oh, so I am a wife, a mother, a homeowner that chose to live in the city of Plainfield. You know, my husband and I, when we moved to the city of Plainfield roughly 12 years ago, we were looking for a city. So, you know, we left Elizabeth looking for our forever home. And as we were looking for our forever home, because my husband works in Union County, he works for the Department of Public Works, you have to actually live in the county. So we looked at different cities. And, you know, at the time, I was pregnant with our first son. And this is right after Tamir Rice was murdered. So, you know, having to raise a black young man in a city, we're like, what city do we raise our child? So we looked at Fanwood, Clark, Summit, and we landed on Wiley Avenue in Plainfield, New Jersey.
Wiley Avenue.
Wiley.
Wow.
And it's right next to a park. It's, we have access to farmers to the farmers market. It was the supermarkets, and our neighbors were super nice to us. They welcomed us. It was a nice neighborhood, and we said, let's do it.
Okay.
Without hesitation.
Okay,
and
that's what's up.
We chose Plainfield.
Okay, all right. So you've been here for a short time.
No, listen.
That's why I wanted you to clarify.
12 years.
12 years. Okay,
make sure you're
let's
clear.
say that.
12 years.
Let's say that.
Since I hit Plainfield, I've been 10 toes down.
Okay.
10 toes down, making an impact.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, and shout out to everybody else too, that's been running and everything. But I've seen you a lot, doing your thing, out in these Plainfield streets. Yeah. And you've been rocking with your family and everything like that. So, to me that was impressive. I like seeing that. And shout out, I've seen some of the other candidates as well. Mm-hmm. And but one thing I like, you're very personable.
Thank you.
And very relatable and everything. And you're not scared of these streets.
No.
And that's a beautiful thing.
So let me tell you, I've worked 23 years in the underserved communities.
Okay.
All right, 23. So my first job, I worked out of Newark at a halfway house with inmates.
Okay.
Adult male inmates.
Wow.
And I went straight into working with juveniles. After that, I went straight into working at the Community Food Bank in New Jersey, practically feeding the entire state of New Jersey. And if you know where the underserved is, it's in our communities.
Right.
It's in the black and brown communities. So I was in the streets, working with our people for the last 23 years. Mm-hmm. The other 10 years of my career, I've been executive directors of organizations providing access to health and wellness, advocacy, and reintegration back into society. So I know about our community. I know about access. I know how to connect people to resources. It's nothing that's going to fear me. I talk to my people. I don't have a problem standing on a food pantry line and having conversations and asking, what resources do you need?
Right.
I have no problem. Well, listen, one of my jobs, I was an executive director of a juvenile program, and we had to go into the roughest projects, Essex and in Hudson County. You got to have no fear factor. Listen, some days I had to take my suit off and throw on my Timbs on and a North Face, and you got to make sure that you are with your people and understand what's happening in the community. So I'm not new to this. I know my community. I know the impact that I've made, and I know what they need and the resources. So I've been connecting people to resources for 23 years.
That's great. That's great. I applaud that.
Thank you.
Now, what is it exactly that made you want to run for city council?
So, being that I'm a natural connector to resources doing this, I just thought that it was a natural progression. Very serendipitous. My councilwoman that lives on my street, Diane Tolliver, she said to me when I came to her and I gave her my palm card, she said, Julienne, one of the things you don't realize is that around 10, 11 years ago when I was doing your hair for your wedding, you said to me, I'm going to run for city council. I said, me? I said I was going to get into politics because, me in politics, I've always said, I'm not a politician. Right. I don't do politics.
Right.
But as I start looking at, our city and the needs for our city and how our city needs to move forward, absolutely. I want to be part of that change. Plus, I'm raising my young son. My husband and I want to make sure that wherever he lives, that I am part of that change. Whether he's going to raise his kids here, I want to be able to be the person that's going to shape it. And again, working in our community, and I know my community, and I've always served my community and the resources. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a natural thing for me. As I was going door to door, I've been walking door to door since February. Got my petitions. Even after I got my signatures done, I still was walking, trying to get to know my neighbors, so my neighbors to get to know me. I was looking them dead in the eyes and just having honest and transparent conversations about me and my background. But I think I've been solving and providing them real-time solutions and resources and connecting them to untapped resources that are in the city that they didn't even know existed.
Right. So let me ask you this,
yes.
Right? So you're running for 1st and 4th Ward. Mm-hmm. So through your travels, what are some of the things you feel need improvement?
So I'm going to go back to resources. Our city needs a lot of resources. So as I've gone door to door, I've seen a lot of food insecurity. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of job insecurity. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of mental health. I've seen a lot of homeowners that don't know about resources within our city. I see our, we're getting our new PSC&G gas lines. I see our curb lines that need to now be fixed as, they dug it up. I see our downtown district that needs to be revitalized. I see the potential of doing job fairs for our people and connecting them to jobs. I see a lot of youth that are home. Now that's probably the youth and my seniors. So as I've gone door to door, there's a lot of youth that will say, I can't open the door, my mom's not home. And then I'll say, I'll come back in like an hour. I've gone back to their home as late as 8:30, and the parent is still not home. So connecting our kids to resources is very important. We need to, and this is number 4 on my vision. I want our city departments to come to the table. I want our school district to come to the table, not just our public, but also inviting our charter and our private schools to the table, and then identify what resources are needed. Invite parents to the table. So once we identify it, let's just say it's the pro-social activity. Let's just say it's sports, mentorship, tutoring. Let's just say those are the 3 buckets. Then we invite after the nonprofits to the table. And when we invite those nonprofits to the table, those are the people within the community that are providing those resources, right?
Right.
So then now our nonprofits say, well, I do tutoring, I do mentorship, I could do basketball, I could close the gap in this area, and then we'll turn around and provide that parent a resource, a plan for their child to be safe and thrive in the city, and not turn to gangs. Not turn to watching YouTube, watching other kids play, because that's what the kids are doing right now.
Right.
They're watching kids play. We need resources. Seniors. I've seen a lot of seniors.
Right.
Last month on my travel, there was one of my seniors, as I was knocking on her door, and I said, she's usually home. I went to this house twice, and this is my 3rd time to her home. When I went to her home, it took a little bit of time. I was hearing her come to the door. She was older. She was in her 90s. When she got to the door, she looked very lethargic. And as I was like, hi, I'm Julienne. You remember? She was like, yeah, baby, I remember you. And at that moment, the campaign, I just put the campaign behind me, and I said, when was the last time you ate? When was the last time you drank? When was the last time you had water and food? And she couldn't remember. So we need to, at that time, I said, I'll be right back. Went and got her some food, made sure we reached out to her family and connected her to resources.
Right.
Our seniors, I've seen our seniors needing access to help. Because the people that are living with them, they're not maintaining and taking care of them and helping their seniors. So I've seen that. I've seen, our what needs to be the biggest thing I would say is cleanup, which is number 5 on my vision, is that I'd like to see us clean up our city. I'm tired of when I tell people, they say, where do you live? And I say, I live in Plainfield. They're like, they kind of do that little look. And I say, I live in, Plainfield's nice. Don't look at my city like that. I love my city. But we need to clean up our city. We need to do a city cleanup next spring and next fall. All of our neighbors, we go outside, put your gloves on, take some garbage bags, and pick up the garbage right in front of your house. And engage our nonprofits, our sororities, and our fraternities in this. Right. So we could clean up those, those empty lots,
But let me say this, right? So even where I live, there's no garbage cans on the street corners. There's no garbage cans. So I'm like, why is that? I don't know. But there should be garbage cans. That's a start.
There should be.
Because you know what I notice? Yeah. I purposely now leave my garbage can in the front of my house, where before I used to roll it up into the driveway.
Yeah.
I'll always leave it in the front of my house. Now I notice when people walk by and they want to throw something, they lift up my lid and throw it in the garbage.
That's a good thing.
But no, that's a beautiful thing. So which tells me maybe there wouldn't be so much garbage if we had garbage cans on the corner.
I agree.
And you can get the sturdy ones, the ones people can't lift up when they get mad at somebody and want to hit somebody over the head with. You can get the sturdy ones that lock in, you know what I'm saying, to the street and everything. But that's a start.
Yeah. And so I think it's those requests. I don't think that that's something far-fetched that the city wouldn't listen to.
And it's funny. That was one of my questions that was sent to me, too, in reference to the garbage. But also, people were saying, Norm, ask her about signage. You know, why isn't there any signage like littering, no littering, this and this and that, right? Because if you do go in other towns, you see a lot of signage, no littering and fines this and everything like that. Maybe you need to put up some signs.
I agree.
Or whatever. So, you know, when people voice their concerns to me because they know I was going to be interviewing you, whatever, I was like, that's a good point. You know, I can't really dispute that.
I agree with you.
There's a lot of lack of just sometimes signage, as basic as it is, can be a deterrent to a lot of things.
Correct. And also us having conversations with our children as well.
Absolutely.
And so I see a lot of kids when they come out of school just throwing throw a wrapper on the floor. Or somebody coming out, you know, after they finish eating, just throwing. And then what will happen? A nice little wind will happen, and next thing you know, it's on your front lawn. And now you pissed because you're saying, I just cleaned up my front lawn. And I do it. Listen, this past week, my husband and I, when we went on our walk, I said, let me get my garbage bag and my little stick. I'll show you pictures. In a matter of our 15-minute walk around our block, I got a whole big garbage bag of garbage. And we live in a nice, clean community. But it's that little wind of just somebody just dropping an empty water bottle. So our neighbors, we need, you know, we have this, you know, the program Love Plainfield. If we love Plainfield, we have to really take care of Plainfield. And that's my initiative of really saying, let's clean up our city.
Absolutely. Plainfield is a beautiful, historic city.
It is.
And I truly believe it is one of the queen cities because I've lived here for so long.
How long have you been living here?
Oh, Lord, do I have to
interviewing
really?
You now.
Do I have to really say? No, I would say a solid 50 years.
Nice.
A solid 50, maybe 52 years because I did go away for a little bit and then I did live somewhere else for a short period of time.
And now you're back home.
Yeah. And I have a house in Plainfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you see the difference over the last 10 years?
I'm
not flipping it on. I'm not interviewing him.
No. But I wanted you to ask me that because that you kind of, you know, give me a segue to the next question I'm about to ask you. But the difference is it's getting more diverse, right? So when I was coming up, we was kind of the majority in Plainfield. Black Americans was the majority in Plainfield. Now it's the minority in Plainfield. Not a bad thing.
Yeah, not at all.
Not a bad thing. But what do you do, being that you asked me that, what do you do to bridge that gap, though?
Stop it. Yep.
What do you do to bridge that diversity gap right there where everybody feels included?
Yep. So I think we need to continue looking at our data, our census data. You know, we are a sanctuary city. And we know our Latinx neighbors are coming in. We need to do more multicultural fairs, right? And when I say multicultural fairs, I'm not just saying for us to know more about our Latinx. Listen, I'm Haitian. Today is you know, the Haitian. We just rose the flag at City Hall.
Oh, ça passe.
Ma boule. My parents are Haitian. I was born here in Morristown, New Jersey. But we need to do more about learning about each other's culture. We need to make sure that we're making sure that our basic needs are met, our food. But when I say getting ahead of the culture, I mean getting ahead of the census, we need to make sure that, you know, we have employees that work at the city that can answer those questions in those other native languages. So not only just answer questions, but also provide resources in real time.
No, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. One of the problems that I'm not necessarily saying it's a problem.
No,
but
we don't have problems. We only have issues.
Right.
Issues that are solvable.
So one of the issues I see is access to information.
Yes.
Right. I remember I was going crazy, right, trying to find a grant for, you know, our business and everything, and I really couldn't. I couldn't really find it on none of the Plainfield outlets or websites, whatever, what I was looking for. Yeah. And somebody actually that lived in Plainfield knew I was looking for this information, and they provided me the information, and they actually made it happen for this particular grant. And I'm like, why isn't this on any websites or city websites? So access to information is very important. Can you think of some solutions that would make information more accessible?
I can. So one, I would say, start attending your council meetings. You know, don't wait until you have an issue and then say, let me go to my council meeting and and ask this question and just make it blow. Your council people are in the neighborhood. They're readily available. Call them, email, text them, drop them a note, but they should be readily available for you. All right? But also, number 2 on my list is block associations. I come from a school where block associations, we would sit in our backyard with our street, and, it would be like 25 people in the backyard, and then, people would bring little, eateries there, and you invite your council, you invite, the police director, you invite safety people, community policing, the mayor will possibly come. That's how we increase the communication and engagement. This city, there's a lot of lack of information. There's a lot of people that are unengaged, and there's a lot of misinformation. As I go door to door, I hear a lot of, well, I heard this and I heard that. And I said, if you didn't hear it from the person's mouth, I'm not going to say it's right or wrong, but you should come and hear it yourself. Go to the planning meeting. Come to the zoning meeting. Did you read the newsletter? Right. They're like, what newsletter? It's a simple newsletter. Go on the city website and just subscribe to the newsletter.
Right.
But I think that how we increase the communication is really just, we have those block meetings. We have those block associations. Get to know your neighbors. Get to know what's happening in the community. Subscribe. Have those conversations with your council. Those are the people that know. And I guess, and even our mayor, he's very approachable.
No, absolutely.
He's very approachable.
Absolutely.
If you ask him a question, I'm sure he'll have an answer. And if he doesn't have the answer, he'll get the answer, get back to you.
And the crazy thing, being that you mentioned the mayor, he gets the heat for a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's really not his fault. And that's because people don't really understand how things work.
How city works.
And so, I will say that,
Yeah.
Again, I'm staying out of politics. I'm just here to interview and ask questions. But I'm just saying, like, everything is not the mayor's fault.
It can't be.
It's not. It's not. And I could say that from having some dealings, with the city on other levels. You know what I'm saying? But
but I also think that people need to know how government works. I think that that's the
my
first
point exactly.
step. Educate people and say, well, your city council is this. Your mayor is responsible for this. One of the biggest misconceptions when I go door to door is they ask me questions about the school board. And I said, well, the school board and city council, they're very, very different. Although there's, when someone is paying their taxes, they're not thinking that, it's county tax, school board tax, and city, they're not thinking that. But they're just saying, they automatically say, what are you going to do about the schools? And I say, well, listen, we need to increase the collaboration between our city and schools. And that's my fourth vision. But, I think we need to educate. We need to have people come out and say, this is how city government works.
Right. Right. I mean, you look at politics on the national level, right? So you got the president.
Yes.
Then you got the Senate.
Yeah.
Then you got the House of Representatives. So the House of Representatives and the Senate is just as important as the president. And see, people don't realize that, And that's why I'm like, city council, y'all need to be voting.
Yes.
For when the elections come up for city council.
These are so the city council, and I say that those are one of the city council is a big race because these are the change agents. Our council that sits up there, they make and they guide the decisions. They take your perspective. They listen to you and they move your perspective. They try to help push your agenda forward, but just really look at that budget.
Right.
And we want to make sure, the city council makes sure that whatever resource you ask for is there. And
absolutely.
So I think that that's what people don't realize. They're thinking, oh, well, let me wait until, the president. You need to start with local elections first.
Local elections are very important because the mayor may be the head.
Yeah.
But the city council is the legs, the arms,
they are.
the body, the this. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and people have to understand that. And because, a lot of people are like, oh, I'll wait and vote for the mayoral election or whatever. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You got to vote in this election June 6th.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to some other things. Yeah, people sent me a lot of questions, right? So I'm trying to dive into some of them because I don't want to miss questions that people sent me.
Sure.
So one of the questions asked was, what are some of your solutions for a safer, crime-free community in Plainfield?
So I think first things first, crime is down. But I think one of the things to continue to, our police need to continue to engage within the community. And that's super important,
Mm-hmm.
Once they're walking the streets. There's a lot of community policing, and the patrol is happening in not just one ward, but all the wards. That's going to increase the engagement between the community.
Right.
When you say no crime, I don't know if there's such a thing called no crime, but I think safer is safer.
Exactly.
I think that there's options that we could do about, having cameras in poles. I remember when I first moved to my street, at the end of the street, there used to be like a video recording. That's an option.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really about just making sure that we, engage in the community, identifying opportunities for employment, educational opportunities. Like I'm sure that a lot of our youth, a lot of people don't want to just hang on the corners and not do anything. They want to be engaged. Like, we need to find opportunities to engage our community in things that are positive.
Absolutely. Some residents feel that the city of Plainfield is getting too congested because of the new apartment buildings being built all over the city. Do you feel it's a problem for the city or it's a benefit?
So I want to go back to, we need to continue looking at our census data. If you look at our census data, what is our census? Do you know what the census is?
I know what the census is, but I don't know the data.
So the data says, and if you look over probably the last, let's just say 2017 to like current, it kind of like fluctuates 50, 60, 50-ish thousand, like 57, 54,000, right? So our apartments aren't the reason why there is more people in the city. We live in a sanctuary city. We live in a sanctuary city. So a lot of our neighbors, and we also not only that, there's a lot of multi-generational homes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not our apartments. So I think we need to look at the factors around it, not just say it's our apartments that are congesting the city. Because as we build these apartments, these are what, 90 units, 100 units? What are 3,000 or 4,000 people coming in because of these units? No.
So what's your answer for the vacant lots? And I see a lot of vacant lots, rundown buildings,
Yeah.
Like, what's your answer for that? What can we do with those?
So I think we need to look at other cities and how other cities handle vacant lots. And I always look at the city of Newark as a good model.
Okay.
I know Raz Baraka really well, and I think he's a great and dynamic mayor. One of the things that he's done is he has, not to dissuade investors to come, but one of the things to do to include the residents in purchasing and really doing businesses. One of the things that he has a program where if you are living in the city for more than 5 years, that he'll offer different lots to you and different businesses. Because he wants to make sure that the city of Newark stays and they are equally invested. So those are programs that we could absolutely model behind. There are, again, educating the community as well. There are certain vacant lots that have to be green space. I don't know if you know that. Legally, by law, there is, and I forgot the name of it, but even though there's city empty lots, some of it has to be green space. So it's not like we could just say it's an empty lot, let's go put a store or supermarket or whatever there. Some of them are designated to be green space.
Okay. Yeah, Plainfield just had a fire recently downtown, not too long ago.
Yeah.
So, a lot of scorched buildings in that particular area, whatever. What could speed up the process to revitalize that area?
What could speed up the process? I think having the conversations with the owners. I mean, I'm sure that the city is having those conversations. As I literally, because my son is not too far, his school is not too far away, so I drive by there almost every other day. I've seen a big difference, from the time that the fire happened. I mean, literally, I think two of the lots have been knocked down, and they're starting to rebuild. So I know that the city, I've seen other cities where there's a fire, and it's years.
Oh, I mean,
years
absolutely,
until,
yes.
Look at the city, city of Newark after the riots. So, I mean, I think it's. I'm sure that there are conversations on the back end that's happening, because I do see some action happening.
All right. Now, Newark, because you speak in Newark a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use them as an example. Yeah. So they came up with an ordinance called the clear free zone or clear zone ordinance or whatever. And it's funny because one of the questions asked was what about loitering around businesses? street corners in residential areas, what solutions do you have for these
Clear
issues?
zone. And I learned about Clear Zone why from you. And you'd put it on your Facebook, and because you would listen to another
do it all,
council.
Councilman Do It All.
Correct.
Was talking about it.
And the media, as soon as I saw that post, I was like, wow. You know, we have this section on East 2nd where we call Black Wall Street?
Yes.
That's a congested area. Ordinances like that will help the businesses. A lot of the businesses, they want to thrive, but when you are driving by, it deters people from going into the businesses, and businesses start to lose money.
Right.
So adopting ordinances like the Clear Zone Ordinance is absolutely something that I think could be positive, but also having conversations with our neighbors.
Yeah,
I think that's where it starts.
It could be positive as long as it's not abused.
Correct.
As long as it's not abused, and as long as you're not targeting people.
Correct. And I agree with that. But I think it starts with, let's have these conversations. Conversate with your neighbor. I remember having conversations with one of the owners, and I asked him, I said, have you ever had a conversation with the people outside? And he says, I'm just tired of just seeing it. Well, communicate with them and tell them how this is hurting your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. Now, homelessness and mental health issues are becoming a major concern. What type of programs would you suggest to help combat these issues within our community? Okay.
So I think, first off, homelessness is a national issue. And I think we need to be careful when we group homelessness, and I hate the word homelessness. I call them my neighbors without walls.
That's nice.
It's a nice,
Yeah, it's nice.
I mean, not to say that, homelessness and neighbors without walls, I mean, it's not a comfortable situation, but I think when we have conversations about our neighbors without walls and mental health, I think we need to not ever be careful when we group those together, because not all of our neighbors without wall have mental health issues. A lot of them may be, like, let's just say, in my son's school, it may be a child that's displaced. The parent couldn't keep up with rent. I think it's the first thing that we need to do is see how we could prevent this. And through Plainfield Action Services, because I sit on the board, they do a lot of divergence. They have a divergence program where they're helping to pay off rent. They're having conversations ahead of this. When someone comes in and says, I'm struggling to pay and I'm in danger of being, those are the resources that Plainfield Action Services do. But also educating people. So while I do think that we need to find a long-term solution, which is critical, it is very critical when we talk about our neighbors without walls. We have to find a long-term solution. There's short-term solutions such as working with our faith-based organizations. This is a model that has been successful in other cities. Our neighbors, when you go from interfaith organization, interfaith building, and then one person will host you on a Monday, another church will host you on a Tuesday. That's a short-term solution. Dudley House. Dudley House is a male facility that houses men, not just men with issues, but they're also homelessness, houselessness. Excuse me. And then also identifying mental health. When you talk about mental health, there's going to be a hub at the old Muhlenberg. I don't know if you know this.
Okay.
There's going to be a mental health hub.
I didn't.
And right now, and these are the resources. I'm connecting people to resources. So right now, that in June, old Muhlenberg is going to have a outpatient to deal with mental health. And hopefully one day that they'll have an inpatient. I know that there possibly are beds there, but right now it's going to be outpatient.
Okay.
So I think that the long-term solution is, the city partnering with, either a nonprofit, identifying funding, identifying a building. I think that that's the long-term solution, especially, our mothers that have children. I think we need to look at prevention and also look at how we could support, but also we need a long-term solution.
What type of grants or resources could actually help the elderly? And the reason why I'm saying this because I've spoken to a lot of people, and they're caregivers for their mother or father, whatever the case may be, and they say every time, I try to reach out to somebody, they get put off or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't know what resources are available in Plainfield. They feel like getting the runaround for their mother or their father, whatever the case may be. What do you suggest?
So, and again, I dealt with this in 2019 as my dad was ill and he was dying. He died in 2019. So I was helping to be the caregiver. And Google was my best friend at the time. And I reached out to the county. The county has resources. There's Meals on Wheels. There's ways to help with the prescription medication. There's ways to transportation, how to get them back and forth to the hospital. There's a host of resources for our seniors, but we need to, at 211, our city has lunch for our seniors down at the senior building.
What about available home health aides?
Yes.
Any type of programs
all of
like
those.
that? Okay.
But if you call your county, there is a division of senior or a division of aging that every single county has. All you have to do is call. And then if it's an emergency, and I always tell people, 211 will be your friend. If you're dealing with someone in your home that has mental health issues, they're dealing with substance abuse issues, if you think you're in danger of being a house without homeless, if you think that, you're being abused, 211 is an emergency resource in real time that everyone can use. It's like the Google. It's the phone call. It's the Google phone call.
I like what I'm hearing, but it's funny. I asked you about these things because actually I'm dealing with them myself.
Are you?
Yeah, with my mom. And even with the mental health situation, I'm dealing with something with my son.
Yeah.
So I'm asking this because the questions was, given to me, but also personally as well. So I'm listening to what you're saying. I like what I'm hearing so far. But like you said, there definitely needs to be some type of board or bulletin board or something with all this information.
Yeah, and going back to the homeless conversation, I think that we need to start a coalition. And that is one of the biggest things I see that's missing in our city. I keep hearing, what's going to happen? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Listen, anybody could start this coalition. We could start the coalition. It could be the Plainfield Homeless Coalition, and you just bring people to the table that have like minds. And that's one of the things that I do for the last 23 years. I pull people together for a shared sense of purpose so we could thrive. So we could start this homeless coalition, invite our faith base back to the table, invite our county to the table, invite our city to the table. There's funds, there's state funds out there, but together as a community, until we come together, we could solve the issue together. And plus, we need to hear from the community as well. What type of resources do you think that we need? What type of resources do you think that the community, that the city or the county or the state can provide? So I think let's start this coalition with a group of people. And listen, if it's just me and you in the room in this coalition, then it's just me and you, and then we figure it out. But we invite people to the table that could help resolve this issue.
Any ideas for affordable housing?
Yes. So I know that the city currently works with Randy. He's the executive director. So I think that we need, to look at more affordable housing. And that's one of the things that I hear from our constituents, that they love Plainfield. They want to live in Plainfield, but they want to be able to afford housing, and they want to be able to go in some of those new developments, and still thrive in this city. Is there an option for us to build more affordable housing? Possibly. I don't know where the ordinance and where the resolutions land. Where the resolutions are right now. But I think that one of the things that if we want our Plainfield residents to stay here and still thrive, that's an option. There was two affordable housings that were Grant Ave, and when it was like a 90 unit and 100 unit for affordable housing. But I think we also got to look at just making sure people feel comfortable in our city as well.
I got to ask this.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, ask it. Uh-oh.
But no.
It's a hot topic.
What makes you, Julienne Cherry, the best candidate for the city of Plainfield?
So I think you said it. Council. Listen, I think one of the things that you said earlier, I'm relatable. There's zero fear factor. No one has asked me to run. Be very clear. No one has asked me to run. I stepped up because I love my city. I have the skills, the talent, the education. And one of the things that I didn't tell you is that I have a bachelor's in administration of criminal justice and Africana studies, and a master's in public administration, summa cum laude from Kane University. So I'm a little smart. I'm a lot of smart. So I manage multi-million-dollar budgets. I've done it in my nonprofit work, right? So my skill set of knowing our community for the last 23 years, working in the underserved community for the last 23 years, providing resources in real time. That's my keen ability that I have. I could connect with anybody in the community. They'll say to me, they'll ask me a question, and I'll say, I know how to connect you, and this is the person and where. So I have the skill set, the talent, the determination. I don't take no. I don't take no, and I work hard. I've worked hard for my community and my passion and making sure that everyone thrives. That's my vision. My vision is that we shouldn't have, just one area thrive. We all should thrive. We all should be able to say, you know what? I love Plainfield. I want to be here. I'm employed. I want to find a job. I could have my home. I want to be able to build my business. We all should be able to thrive. But it takes us coming together and working together and stop the bickering. Stop the aggressiveness. We need to come together. It's the time. So am I the best candidate? Listen, I have the skill set to say that I am. I have the background to say that I am. I have the care and compassion that says that I am. And I can get the job done.
So
I have a proven ability to get the job done.
Okay. So you're running against Sindel Harris Blackman.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. If she wins.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And here's my thing. If she wins.
Yeah.
Even as a resident of the city of Plainfield, are you willing to work with her
Absolutely.
to help improve the city of Plainfield?
I've worked through 2 administrations through the city. That's why I told you when I arrived in 2011, I was 10 toes down. Mm-hmm. I worked through the administration with Sharon, the mayor. Now I've worked through different city departments. I don't have a problem working with anyone. I've worked with difficult people. I've worked with great people. Mm-hmm. I will do anything to move our city forward. And if she's elected as the next councilwoman, she will be my next councilwoman. I will hold her accountable as such.
Holding someone accountable is very important.
Yes.
Because one thing that I hear in my ear a lot is that there's too many yes people. Right? So I've been hearing that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your answer to that? Are you a yes person, or are you a person that's going to actually sit down? I'm going to hold you accountable for this. I'm going to check this. I'm going to dot all the I's. I'm going to cross all the T's. Tell me about yourself, your character.
So it's called integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching.
That's
right?
important.
I've run a fact-based campaign. I think when it comes to the right person for the position, I think we just need to look at your character, how you treat people. Are you speaking to them with compassion? Are you relatable? And at the end of the day, me being a yes person, so I don't work through the city. I don't work at the county. I've been a community advocate and a community servant for 23 years. Me working and all my accomplishments over the 23 years, no one can take that from me. So I've done it myself, right, with the support of my family. So where do I become the yes person? And I don't know where people think that I have a mind. I guess what I said earlier, I am educated and I am smart. I'm far from a yes person. I want to do the right thing for our constituents, for our neighbors. And I've done that. And people know me within the last 23 years. That's what I've been doing. I've connected people. I've been their voice. I'm not going to, get on the council and say, oh, well, you know what? Everybody wants to say yes. You will see me possibly say no. If it's something I don't agree, if I'm not hearing something that's going to help move the city of Plainfield forward, I have a conscience. And every night I sleep well. And I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing by the people.
Absolutely.
And that is why you have to elect someone that has integrity, doing the right thing when no one is looking. You have to, and people say, well, what is a yes person? Is it a person that's just going to go along with? No, we have to look and see, how do we move Plainfield forward? in the best possible manner.
And when they say yes person, they mean the person that's always going to agree with the head and just say yes, yes, yes.
Who's the head?
Well,
because
from the mayor on down. I mean, from the mayor on down.
Because that's not how it runs. It's the council. And that's where we have to educate ourselves.
Mhm.
It's not the mayor down. So it's not like the mayor sits down and says, all right, council, this is what I need you to do. I need you to vote. These are, you say yes. That doesn't happen. The council says yes or no.
Now, see, I'm glad she explained that.
So it's not the mayor saying this is what you need to do. It's the council. So if the council are saying yes, they're saying yes because they are saying yes for themselves, not because the mayor has said it. And I think that is where one of the biggest misconceptions is that people are saying, this is a mayoral race. This is a council race. We have to look at the candidates for the skill set that they bring to the table.
I had a chance to listen to some of the candidates.
Yes, sir.
And there is one thing you all have in common. I got to admit this. Y'all all got love for the city of Plainfield. And that's important.
Yeah.
And that's important. And a lot of times, you will see people running for city council, right? That will do things, you know, knock on your door, say this, or feed you these promises and all of that, whatever, right?
Yep.
And then once you elect them in office, all that shifts. All that changes.
Yep.
Tell me why it wouldn't change with you.
Because I've been doing it. I didn't start just saying, let me go bring you a meal. I didn't start this. I started food programs here in Plainfield. I helped start the Joanne Hollis Food Pantry. I started the emergency food policy, the coalition here. I connected people. I sit on these boards. I sit on the board of Plainfield Action Services. So I'm not just showing up because it's election. My resume and my community servant leadership shows that I've been doing this. Plus, I'm a team mom with the Vikings.
Okay.
And you know, and that's one of the things, let me say this, and I get emotional when I think about my kids. That's probably one of the best things that I would have done. And that was, you know, one day my husband's on the coach on the field, and I see I think it was just him and another kid, another coach, and he's drowning out there. And I'm like, what is going on? He needs some help. And I just jumped in. That right there, and I didn't know what that was going to catapult to. That catapulted to now these kids are at my house. I'm feeding them. I'm doing homework with them. We're picking them up. And we're out checking on them, making sure, did you do your homework? Like, that's not something that I said, oh, I'm going to run for city council. Let me go be a team mom. Or let me go feed the community
Right.
8 years ago or 10 years ago.
Right.
Or let me go get my master's degree. Let me go start a feeding program at Richmond Tower. Let me, through my sorority, for the last 4 years, let's go and feed Richmond Tower. No, we've been doing this. I coordinated 5 health and wellness fairs in our city. The biggest fairs were thousands of people, one behind City Hall and the other 4 at Cedar Brook Park in conjunction with Rhythm and Blues by the Brook. So it's always the first Saturday in June. I've been doing this for the last 5 years. Now, 5 years ago, if you would have asked me, am I running for city council? No.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But I did this because I want to make sure our neighbors have access to health and wellness. I want to make sure, again, everyone in our city, thrives. Everyone, during COVID, working with the city to identify how we could put different locations, the setup of COVID testing. Coordinating with when I created and it's funny, today somebody reminded me, Julienne, you started that emergency food coalition. I was like, I did do that in 2016. I sat together, it was myself, Donna Morris, and Shep. I said, I was working at the food bank at the time, Community Food Bank in New Jersey, and I said, let's bring all these people in the room because I saw somebody on a Sunday downtown that was digging in the garbage, and at that moment, I couldn't give that person a resource for them to get something to eat on a Sunday. And that bothered me. The following week, I called the city and I said, we need to get all of them together. So Shep Brown, he literally said, let's get all the food pantries together.
Right.
I called them all. And guess what we did next? I said, we need to change hours in operation just to make sure that everyone that is a neighbor in need, that is food insecure, has access to food. And that's exactly what we did. We changed some people, I was like, listen, we need people to be open on a Saturday. We need hot meals Monday through Friday. Who's going to do it? And we sat there over the course of 3-4 months. And then now what you see, that list that comes out through the city, that's something I feel proud. Every time I see it, I'm like, I did that. I worked with our city. I worked with all our food pantries and our soup kitchens to make sure our neighbors in need have access to food.
Right. Well, listen, it's definitely been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
But I have to ask the most important question last.
This
all right?
Juicy. Wait, I can do a promo?
And listen, I don't want you to get upset.
Okay.
I got to ask this question. What's your favorite classic old school hip-hop artist?
Hip-hop? Oh, Biggie Smalls, hands down.
It's not old enough.
Biggie Smalls.
Not old enough.
It was all a dream.
Okay, all right.
I used to read Word Up and...
Go ahead.
Oh, I don't want to freestyle.
Finish out the lyrics.
Okay. It was all a dream. I used to... Don't take my card.
Yo.
Don't take my card.
Sorry.
No, I'm joking. No, I pump Biggie in my car.
Biggie? That's what's playing in your car?
Oh,
No, you get it.
I do.
I love Biggie.
I like Biggie. I like Biggie. Probably Biggie Smalls. That's my hype music.
Really?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
So,
it's the music I work out to.
So you do know the city of Plainfield on July 4th.
Yes.
In Cedarbrook Park.
The hip hop. Oh, I can't wait.
Is doing the first classic old school hip hop celebration, a tribute to the golden era and a tribute to the DJs for the first time ever in the city of Plainfield.
So I was thinking, this is what I was thinking. I was going to come out with my shell-toe Adidas and my cardboard and breakdance. Because I could do it. You don't think I couldn't.
Listen, I tell you what. If you do that, I'm going to have to give you applause. Right now. And if you actually break dance,
I could pop, lock, and try.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
I could. Listen, you don't think that's the funny part of it.
Listen.
Back in the day, fun fact about me. Back in the day,
when I lose, I want to see you do it.
Listen, fun fact. My brothers are a little bit older. My brothers used to show me how to do the little, but you got to start right here and pop. So listen, I can't wait for the hip hop.
Okay. All right. Don't listen. We may call you up there for a freestyle. That's how we do it.
Oh, I could.
She playing with
this is the freestyle where my son gets embarrassed when I say MC Ahmad. People call me Jay, and when I bust up on the mic, there is no delay. Okay.
All right, stick to politics. All right.
I'll stick to politics.
All right, y'all. Listen.
I'll stick to community service.
There you go.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to thank Julienne Cherry for coming on BKS1 Radio, the Storm Warning Show. Tomorrow is the Owl Show, where we're going to have the other candidate, Miss Sindel Harris Blackman, and she'll be on the Owl Show tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m. And again, we want to give you these choices, so y'all can make your own informed decision of who you feel is the best candidate for the city of Plainfield, New Jersey. It was definitely a pleasure meeting you, Julienne.
Thank you.
You got a little skills. You got a little freestyle.
Skills?
Yeah, a little something. Little something.
Keep my day job.
Yeah.
But it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely.
And thank you to the city of Plainfield and just for listening and giving me this opportunity to present my platform and get to know you as, for you to get to know me as a person.
Yes, and if you win, will you come back?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to hold you to that.
Yes, because I'm doing one of your promos. In the beginning, BKS Radio.
Anyway, keep rocking, y'all, with the Storm Warning Show. BKS1 Radio. Shout out to everybody on the check-in. Again, make sure you tune into the Owl Show tomorrow, 7 p.m. with LaToya, with Miss LaToya Chanel. She will have Sindel Harris Blackman on. And again, you get to make the choice. But please, no matter who you choose, go out there and vote. Tuesday, June 6th, go vote, Plainfield. Come on. Stand up, Plainfield. Let's go. You already know. Where's the anthem at?
Where you from? Queen City.
Peace and blessings. Tune in tomorrow, the Owl Show, 7 p.m.
Parliament Funkadelic, Gary Scheider, and the Prayer Boys. Yeah, it's my home that makes me smile. You gotta rep where you from. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Plainfield, stand up. This is your anthem.